You spent 30 years getting really good at something, and now there's a tool that can do a version of it in 10 seconds. And nobody at work is saying it out loud, but you can feel it. So I'm handing this one over to Finn because he says the thing you're most worried about is actually the thing that makes you irreplaceable.
She's right. She's right. The fear is backwards. Give me 8 minutes and I'll show you why the thing you're most worried about is actually the thing that makes you valuable. Here's the fear said plainly. You've got 20, 30 years of experience and it feels like a sword is hanging over your head, like you're standing in quicksand, slowly sinking, and nobody at work is saying it out loud. I'm not going to tell you that feeling is silly. I'm going to tell you that it's a signal. When people feel like they might get left behind, they do one of two things. They put their head in the sand or they learn the new thing. This video is for the second kind of person. Think about how new tools used to work. You'd get a new piece of software, you'd try it, either it worked or it didn't. If it was a pain, you'd say, come back to this thing when it's better, and you'd go back to the old way, and that was fine. That was the right call most of the time. This new tool, AI, is not like that. This tool does not stay the same. It learns. So the old instinct, wait until it's perfect, is the one instinct that will actually leave you behind. Not because you're slow, but because the rules have quietly changed. Here's the shift, and it's the whole episode, so stay with me. For your entire career, the job was the middle. You personally did the task. You were in the spreadsheet, in the document, in the weeds, doing the thing. Then maybe you reviewed it or sent to someone else for review. That middle is the part that's getting automated. I know that sounds scary. Hang on. Because the work doesn't disappear, it moves to the two ends. The front end is setting it up. What needs to happen, why it needs to happen, what good looks like, what done looks like. The back end is checking it. Did it actually work? Where did it go wrong? Is this fit to send? Are we done? The doing shrinks, but the judgment grows. And here's the part nobody tells you. The front end and the back end are the parts that need experience. Your experience. They need taste. They need someone who has seen this go wrong before, and that is you. And it was always you. You walk in with two things a machine will never have. One, you already know how to manage. You manage people or you manage a process. You've been handed authority and you've learned how to get work out of a system that doesn't always cooperate. That is exactly the skill that this moment rewards, because the work is becoming managing the machine instead of being the machine. Two, you have taste. You know what good looks like. You can look at a finished thing and feel that something is off before you can even explain why. The AI cannot do that. It has read everything and lived nothing. It is not a person. It's a pattern matcher. You're the person. That gap is your job security. You're going to hear that a job that used to take 1,000 people now takes 10. And that's true, and it's frightening if you stop reading there. But let's look at who the 10 are. They're the ones who know how the system works, who can set it up, who can catch the errors coming out the back, and who can say, this final product is not good enough. Fix it. That's not an entry-level skill, that's a 30-year skill. This question is just whether you're one of the 10 who will learn to drive the machine or one of the ones who refuse to look at it. Most people need someone to show them where the door is, and that's what this channel is for. Here's the move, and it's small. Use this stuff in your regular life, every day, before your job ever asks you to do so. Plan a trip with it, sort out a dinner, talk through a decision, or use it to prep for a hard conversation or summarize a report before a meeting. Something real, something yours. The point is just to make it familiar before it's required. You don't have to know how every wire connects. You just have to be the person who can look at the end product and say, it broke somewhere in here. Go fix it. That person is always going to have a job. So the doing is shrinking, the judgment is growing. You already know how to manage, and you already know what good looks like. The only thing between you and staying relevant is being willing to pick up the tool. Not master it, just pick it up. One of the moves on the checklist is this. Find one task you do every week and try doing it with AI first. Just one. The rest are in the link. I made you a one-page checklist. 5 concrete moves to future-proof your role starting this week. No theory. Links in the description.
That's the one I needed to hear. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I'm Maggie.
I'm Finn. Your experience matters. It always did.
And you're not too late. You're right on time.